I came across another list of questions for atheists. The author says at one point that some of these are not serious, but doesn't clarify which. Let's tear it apart, see what we can answer. And for those playing at home, for bonus points, let me know where you think I took the serious ones flippantly and gave the frivolous ones too much gravitas. Evolution is the best and so far only theory that both explains the diversity of life and has any evidence to back it up. The explanation of diversity through natural selection came out over a century and a half ago, and, despite slight changes to it, has stood the test of time. I don't believe in it, it's supported by the evidence. Just about all religious takes on creation assume some kind of supernatural being or event that has no evidence behind it. Good point, voices in my head. Well, we admit our ignorance of the cause of the Big Bang. We have evidence of the expansion of the universe roughly 14 billion years ago, but the cause is still unknown. We do not claim to know what the cause is without evidence. Sure, throughout history there have been many famous composers that were very religious, and that belief influenced their art. For example, Bach, Handel, or the Byrds. Well, most modern Christian rock bands suck, but to be fair, I'm old, so I think most new music sucks. Everybody knows that popular music peaked in 1989 with the release of the Dr. Feelgood album. Sure, there have been a few decent songs since, but that was the high point of music history. The religion I dislike most is whichever one is currently trying to make laws based on their scripture, ones that say must act a certain way according to their faith, or ones that want to use my tax dollars to spread and support their beliefs. Currently in the West, that's usually Christianity. But if another religion tells me how to think or act, that'll be one I dislike as well. As for being ridiculous, they all assume something without evidence, so I see them all as ridiculous, some more ridiculous than others. No, there is no, messiah of atheism. There is no great being out there who says how atheists are to act. That kind of goes against the whole idea, that there isn't a great creator being out there, much less one to save us or dictate how we live. And, with so many different atheists out there, with the only thing they have in common is a lack of belief in a god, that'd be like asking who the messiah of religion is. There's so many subgroups out there, there's no being they all revere. You do realize he's not a real person, right? I think Ronald McDonald is a marketing gimmick. It's used to draw children to the restaurant, much in the same way heaven is the carrot used to draw people to church and have them act in a certain way, and hell being the stick to attain the same actions with threats. My parents were never really religious, but with the culture I was brought up in, a belief in God was a given. I always read the Bible in school, there were cartoon specials on TV about biblical stories, and everyone else was a believer, so I thought there must be something out there as well. I always assumed my parents were believers as well. It was just never brought up. That's why I make sure to let my kids know where I stand on my lack of beliefs. That's kind of like asking which Marvel Comics character I think kicks the most ass. I see them as fictional. Although, I guess Thor could answer both questions. Since most people that I encounter are Christian, and people in general take things personally, when they find out I'm an atheist, if they do take the fact that I don't believe in any god as a personal affront, while they may recognize that I disbelieve in all religions, it's the fact that I don't believe in theirs that they latch onto. Occasionally I've been called a Satanist, but that's not a common occurrence. In general, people usually understand the difference between not believing in a deity and believing in your deity's nemesis. There are notable exceptions, though. I don't know, I haven't seen you in them. If you're worried about your weight, it is possible to shed excess pounds. Here I was a few years ago, over 150 kilos, pushing 160. With diet and good exercise, I brought that down to under 85. But only change if that's what you want. As an aside, I personally enjoy the aesthetics of a bigger woman, so when I get asked by my female acquaintances if I think their outfit makes them look fat, what I give as an honest compliment often results in me getting slapped. I have a few friends and family members who follow different religions. My kid's mother was a Wiccan, and some of the women I dated were Christian. We respect each other's beliefs, or at least try to. But, in the spirit of fairness, the only long-term relationship that has worked for me was with a woman who didn't believe in gods, although she does have some supernatural beliefs that I try to respect. Well, it is theorized that in a few billion years the sun is going to burn out. As an average citizen, there's probably not much we can do about that. But that isn't directed by a deity, just a natural process of the physical properties of a star like ours. Once our brain functions end, we, our personality, what makes us, will be gone. Maybe at some point in the future we'll be able to record and move our brain activity to some kind of storage device, but for now, when we die, that's it, no more. First off, do you mean Rosie O'Donnell? If so, no, not really. I personally don't know much about her. I saw A League of Their Own back in the 90s, but I was more interested in the girl I was sitting with than the movie. Is that an atheistic tenet I'm not aware of? Hating her? I think the tension for the non-theist is caused by the theistic majority attempting to impose their beliefs on what should be a secular society. And I think the tension for the theist is the current change in culture, where non-believers are pushing back and saying they're not going to accept the beliefs or rules of theists. There was not one particular moment where I decided, it kind of grew over time. But one point that stands out was when I was a kid. I was in bed one night thinking about the Moses story, and I thought, wait a second, how likely is it that it happened like that? And if I can question the details, can I question the entire story itself? That was one of the first few flakes that eventually became the snowball for my lack of belief. There is no reason why people cannot put aside their differences and respect each other's views. However, once you try to impose your view on another, that's when conflict starts. For instance, when discussing evolution in the public school science class, we have to use the facts. Here are the similarities between species, here are the processes for change, and here's how natural selection works. A theistic teacher cannot say, but we all know it was really God that poofed it into existence 6,000 years ago. And an atheistic one should not be able to say, so therefore we know there is no intelligence behind the universe. Simply, here are the facts, here are the conclusions drawn from them. I hope this answered the burning questions you had, or at least my take on them.